Okay. So we can record it in case she goes too fast that we miss her, you know. Those crones are fucking tricky. You have to watch them. Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, Jeanette, take it away. Show us what we're doing today.
All right. First of all, speaking of gnomes, anybody that has access to this old book, it is the biggest treasure. And the funny story about it is when I was little, my grandmother told me about gnomes, and my daughter had an experience. She swears that these little men came to the door one Thanksgiving day, and she was terrified. She thought they were trying to take her away. So she hates gnomes. So all these garden gnomes you see and everything, you know, when she found out I was teaching the gnome workshop, she's like, you know, but this book was gifted to her. And so I know, isn't that funny?
I got mine at a Goodwill. When I saw it, I felt like I was running away with like treasure. I'm like, oh, this is the coolest book ever.
Yeah, it is, right? And so what I found interesting is because my people hail from up in Connecticut and New England area. And so, you know, they used to always tell about the little brown men and the little men in the woods. You know, they all had different names. But it's funny because if you look over, the area that they come from is that upper area of the European continent, you know. So that's what I love about this, is it tells the geographical ranges and what their different names are. So they're everywhere. They, you know, and a couple of years ago they started being really, really popular, and of course you see them everywhere now. And so they you know, they're in Ireland, they're in England, they're Flemish, Dutch, German, Norwegian, Swedish, Danish, Polish, Finnish, Russian, Serbo-Croatian, Bulgarian, Czechoslovakian, and Hungarian. And so they all have different names, but the most common ones here in the United States are gnomes. And then tomtas are I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, that's the Norwegian area. And then Nisa, which is also the Norwegian area. So anyway, just if you have able to get this online or something, it's really awesome. And of course, there's so many different things that you can do. And so I did this today in probably, oops, his sign fell. I did this today in probably about maybe 30 minutes in my compromised state that I'm feeling, you know. So it's really interesting, and you can get all the supplies at Dollar Tree. I am like the Dollar Tree queen for some things. And so I would consider this more of a craft, not an art doll. So I buy things that I can get my hands on. And so one of the things for the hat is they have these little tree skirts at Dollar Tree. They're $1.25 now, not $1, but they already have the fur on them. And so when you open them up, hold on one second, you can just cut. So it's already got the curve at the top because of the tree. So you just, you know, sort of determine what size you're going to want to make that hat and then cut it off. You can do it with a glue gun. I sewed mine because I'm just that way, but you can do it and then turn it inside out, you know, but you can do it with a glue gun. It holds, and you just sort of measure it to your doll. The way I made the body was they have these awesome socks at Dollar Tree. And so you would cut, actually I'm going to do it because I'm going to do one shortly. So right where the heel is, you're going to cut right there. And you're going to use the toe part, but you're going to cut off that one section to make it even. So, well, sort of even.
I love how we're all watching Jeanette like she's our Sunday school teacher. We're like, look at the craft.
Yeah, and I got to show you, this is the only trash I had from the red one. So I used all of it. Now, I kind of liked him better when he just didn't have the arms and legs, but you know, he just was like a pudgy thing. But so you're going to fill it. I normally would use sand because I live in the desert and I can go scoop it out of the driveway. But it rained for 2 days, and so I didn't do that. I use garbanzo beans. Now, if you have a problem with mice, or you wouldn't want to do that. Like, I know some people use rice. You can also buy those plastic pellets, but who wants to use plastic in your, and you may want to take them apart and use stuff for another time. So I used garbanzo beans because I bought I don't know where I lost my mind buying garbanzo beans, and I don't even like them that much. So you're going to fill it just the bottom. I used about a cup, I'd say, in the bottom. And that's what makes him, weighted so that he has, he can sit. And then stuffing for the rest of it. And you're just going to fill it. And then up at the top, when you get it the way you want, you're going to take a string and tie it around the top real tight. And then sort of peel that back and glue it to the top so that it doesn't get in your way, but only after you've made it really tight at the top. And then you just plunk his hat on, and you're going to need fur. And Joanne's has, that's what I'm doing next, is this stuff. Joanne's has this stuff. I think it's for making garments and sweaters and stuff, but I buy it all the time for dolls, for art dolls. The only problem is when you cut it, it goes everywhere. Like, I'll have gray fur everywhere. But when you cut the fur, like if you're using this one like I did, you're going to want about a 4-inch square. And you always just cut from the behind on, and you try to get you don't want to cut like right on the fur because that'll just mess it up. But you just cut inside that little lining, and you make it into sort of a U shape so that his beard curves down at the bottom. So straight at the top. So I'm doing it the opposite way. It would be straight at the top. And then you want to make it about 3.5, 4 inches long. And you're going to just gradually curve it to a point. And that gives him, the pointed beard. But when you first cut, you're going to have to like brush it a little bit and get all that flowy stuff that wants to come off. But pretty much if you do it from the back side, you don't have much of that at all. So that's how to use fur. And I've learned that the hard way. They had these beads, which are great for noses. I think I got them at Michael's. So they have those. The alternative, if you wanted to make a bigger gnome, which I intend to do, is they have these little styrofoam balls for making ornaments, and you can cover them with tan felt. So that would work as well. I'm going to put antlers on mine. They had these at Dollar Tree a while back. And so the other part of what you cut off, so you're going to make the base, sorry. And I use jute because it's so strong, or cotton string to do that tying stuff. And so what you're going to do for the other part is you could actually turn this into his hat by, and then it already has a little border. But you can cut that off and make it straight. And what I did is I cut it about into 2 pieces right there. And the bottom part I cut into 2 and made his legs. So he had the cute little cuffs on the bottom of his legs. And then the top I made into arms. So I used the whole sock. And I like the idea of having an alternating color of hats. So I really liked, and I have all kinds of, like, they also have scarves at the Dollar Tree that would make great hats. But he turned out really cute. And you just want to make, like, I got him off kilter. His hat is not exactly centered in the back because I was burning my hand on the glue gun. But I also they had a bag of pom-poms already made up. So I got all these different pom-poms for $1.25. And I think that's pretty much everything. Now, when I make the bigger one, I found this, and this is mittens and gloves in the same fabric that is in that tree skirt. And I thought, how cute would that be if he had mittens? And so it's supposed to be a garland for your tree. So then there's all kinds of accessories you can put on him, like birds could be on his shoulder. Little jingle bells. What else? I found these little gingerbread men. You could paint those and put them on there. And there's little Christmas tree ornaments and angels, if you're into angels, and sleighs and all of that. So all of this stuff was like $1.25. So it took me probably, if you were doing the glue gun bit, you know, you don't have to glue this at all. You're just going to stuff it with the whatever your preferred method of weighting him down. You can use those glass beads from that you use for planting, you know, for like I think they're in the garden or the floral section of the stores. You can use glass beads too. They work really good. But then of course, if you drop him, that could be a disaster. So I think the whole, if you don't have a mouse problem, I think the whole bean thing or rice works really well. Only thing about rice is it absorbs moisture. So anyway, so this and the one sock makes a gnome. If I were going to make a bigger one, I would just use that same basic pattern, a U that you could sew, you know, out of fabric. But the socks work so good. Like, you know, what would be really cool is those leggings you see like at Target that have that are lined with fleece, because then you could like fold over the top and make a hat out of that. And it would already have the fleece on the top going around too, just like that tree skirt. So, and then you don't have to sew fleece on or whatever. And so basically you're just going to need a nose, a piece for a nose. You're going to need some strong cord. I have cotton, but I also have this stuff, which you can see the cat got into. And then I have two kinds. Yes, right? Yes, because they like to bat it all over the house and you find it under a chair or whatever. And then this is the jute that I use, and you can get these everywhere, you know, and even at Christmas time, they have green jute. Sorry. And this wasn't on the gnome schedule, but I also did this last week. I don't know if you can see it. It's a Christmas tree, and it's made out of just felt. And you make 2-inch strips of felt, and you cut them into fringe about 1/4 of an inch apart. And then you're going to wrap it around a wire and then use floral tape to adhere it to the tree rod. So it's really simple. I just pulled a stick out of the yard and I did that. And my little gnome is going to sit in front of that tree. So that is pretty much it. It is so simple. Now, I was thinking of all the ways you could use gnomes, and you could also make little gnome hats, kind of like Sissy made the beautiful witch hats. You can make little gnome hats and attach the beard and the nose, but not have a body, and put it over a wine bottle if you're gifting somebody a bottle of wine. Or you can make a bag and make it flop over and cover the wine bottle. So that's another way that you could use the gnome to your advantage. And you know, I foresee lots of gnomes all over my house to go, and my daughter will never come in my house again. But I foresee lots of gnomes sitting around at Christmas time because I adore them. I think they bring me joy, and they're very cheerful. And also having ancestry from that area of the country, here in the United States, and also over in the Norwegian area and the Scotland area and everything. It's just part of the heritage and the Norse pantheon as well. So any questions?
You're all just sitting there like amazed by Jeanette's craftiness, aren't you?
Absolutely. Can I borrow you, Jeanette? Can you like come to my house and teach me how to be crafty? Because just like Jen, I can't even cut in a straight line.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, this is
for
so
not feeling
forgiving.
well, you've done amazing, Jeanette. Like I can't
this
even
is so
tell that you're
forgiving. you don't have to cut in a straight line for this project. It's
That's what I like about it.
yeah, it's not like an art doll where you screw up, you've got a weird face or whatever, you know, it's really, really forgiving and fun.
Makes his personality. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Exactly
yeah.
right, Jen, right?
You know, it's
Very
like that
cool,
song
Jen.
that's going around TikTok right now. Because I grew up in New England, pretty much, right? Why we do weird things.
Exactly.
Well, I know
Oh, yeah.
that Tom Tees will be certainly coming to my area of my living room to nest this year because Caroline's gonna love this. So
Yeah, it's such a great craft for children, I think, you know.
and the great thing is they can build this top of the hat on a soup can, like with your
Mhm.
glue gun, till you're ready to put it on the sock. So like
Right.
we have to always worry about the stability issue with a craft with C because we only have helper hand and her regular dexterity hand. And helper hand's kind of like a claw. So we have to find a way to get it to work that way for her. So a
Right.
quick hint for you guys, if you are craft challenged, use the soup can to glue around first. That will really help.
Yeah. And a pointer on the hat too, if you're going to use a glue gun. So say you measure it and this is the part you want. You're going to have like a little overhang at the bottom that, hi, how are you? I'm so glad you're
Okay.
better. So it'll be like a little V sort of when you have it
Okay.
folded. So you'll have a little tail sticking out because it'll be off center. Just cut that puppy off and then, glue it. And I almost glued it, but you know me, I had to sew it. I was like, I can't do that. But yeah, I mean, and you can I always get my furs and things like that at Joann's when I have a coupon that's like 50% off or whatever, because those furs cost quite a bit. They're like $15 a yard, I think, something like that. So
I've taken to picking up stray hats and like shirts and stuff that have the trim at the thrift stores and cutting it off and putting it in my sewing basket.
yeah.
I've taken to doing that because I know how expensive it is. Like if you don't get it with a coupon.
Right.
Well, Jeanette soldiered through like the seasoned crone she is.
I'm heading straight to the Walmart to get my augmentin.
So don't forget, she has a beautiful shop on the market. And she has beautifully crafted journals, and we all know what a journal whore I am. So you better get there before I do.
But I do have to show my mistake. So I make mistakes. So this became my journal, this one, because I made the journal cover too big. But I was thinking, I thought for a moment and said, well, you can make like a pen holder and, like a place to put your pens or whatever. But yeah, and so that became mine. That's my
No,
new journal. For
still
the year.
You should
Cool.
sell that as a custom item. That's not a mistake. It's a custom item.
No, that's still cool. I would like to have that extra space because I put tags in my books,
Right.
And that way you don't have them sticking out of the book because someone's hidden by the cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with her because I've made one too, and I intentionally made the back and the cover longer because of that. Yeah, because like I wanted to insert, certain pages or
Yeah, I do that.
whatever.
Yeah. When I make
So you didn't make a mistake. You actually did it just right.
well, when I make the what are they called? Junk journals, they are bigger because and that's why I was going by my old pattern for the junk journal because I have lace and I sew things in and I have little pockets and all of that. Yeah.
Well, guys, Jeanette's our next to last speaker. There's only one more speaker for the market. Then we have a social fest tonight at 8:30. So bring your coffee, your cookies, your tea, and get ready
Your meds.
Talk about whatever you accomplished here in the market today. And I'd love to hear about some of the vendors you guys visited and some of the things you learned. But thank you, Jeanette. Go get your
Thank you.
medicine. And thank you for sharing with us. See you later, guys.
See you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.